This is Bob Nightingale from USA Today. You're listening to Lockout Sports.
Well, there'll be 3 new faces at Citi Field tonight as the Mets completed a successful trade deadline. David Stearns addressed all the needs. Are they the big winners of the day in baseball? No. But are they a winner overall in this trade deadline? Absolutely. Absolutely. What's up, everybody? Bob Walters here. This is Locked Up Sports Mets trade deadline special. Sorry I wasn't here yesterday. I was sick yesterday. So we're doing it this morning. Probably be back tonight with a pre or post game show with Brett, hopefully. And we'll discuss everything then. But we're going to first discuss this trade deadline. And the Mets, listen, the Mets are a better team today than they were 2 days ago. And that's what's most important, I think. When you look at it, you want to get better. They didn't mortgage their future. They gave away no top 10 prospects. They gave away only 2 players that are major league players. You know, Buto being really the only one they gave away. And the additions they got are exactly what they needed. We said they needed bullpen in the worst way. This bullpen was a bottom tier bullpen in baseball. They went from bottom tier to top 5 bullpen in baseball just at the 2 moves that they made 2 days ago. They got Tyler Rogers from the Giants, who's a submariner. He's tough to hit, tough to see. He's a consistent, reliable arm in the bullpen, which is exactly what the Mets needed. And there's not many reliable arms, and they didn't get him for much either. And people are going to tell you that, it was a big haul and they gave him Budo. And no. Listen, none of those guys are not, all those guys that we gave away are expendable, right? You're a win now team. And if you're a win now team, you're going to have to give away some pieces, some higher end prospects, maybe a major leaguer or 2. And that's what they did. They kept Vientos. They kept Beatty. They kept Mauricio. They kept Acuna. All the names that you would really know as good players, as major league ready ball players, they kept. They gave away lottery tickets. And Buto. Are you going to really sit there and bitch and moan over Buto? Come on. He was all right this year. He wasn't terrible, but you got to give something to get something. And Tyler Rogers is reliable. He's been doing it forever. He's having a career year. He's 1.80 ERA in 50-something appearances. He has led the league in appearances multiple times, so he's a workhorse. He's not going to hit a wall. He's not going to get real tired and get worn out. These guys are all rentals. The Mets got all rentals, but still, I love that move, and I love the move with the Cardinals even better to get Helsley because he is a closer, and that's what we said, right? They wanted to get somebody's closer, a team that was falling out of it. They wanted to get their closer, plug him in the 8th inning, and get the ball to Diaz, and they got the 7th inning covered and the 8th inning covered. And I think if you put Stanek in the 7th inning, you could have that covered too. So, I mean, the Mets bullpen is now a built for October type of bullpen. And you got to have that in this day and age in baseball. It's important to have a strong bullpen that can get you 12 outs or get you 9 outs and shorten the game. And that's what the Mets did. They shortened the game to at least 7 innings. And that is so important come October and come big time baseball. And when you talk about Helsley, you talk about somebody who is really, he's pitched in high leverage situations, and he's done good in high leverage situations. So you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about Rogers with the hitting the wall and getting tired and worn out. Rogers also he's a submariner, which is different. Batters don't see that very often this year, and this day and age, they don't see it very often. You don't see many submariners, right? And he's special because he's good against both lefties and righties. Usually they're not good against the other side because the pitch is coming from the opposite side into the batter. Well, Rogers can get either side out, lefties and righties, and that's important. They've added a couple left-handed arms. And listen, now this is a bullpen that's ready for the long haul and ready for October, and I think that's the most important thing. They didn't mortgage the future. They didn't give away any of these big names that we were talking about for the last week or so. They didn't give away any of them. When it comes to somebody like Rogers, he's also he throws and he gets a lot of ground balls, a ton of ground balls. 85% of the balls hit into play that he throws are ground balls. So that means he can induce double plays. He's also a strikeout pitcher. He's got a big sinker, a big slider, and Helsley could just throw it right by you. He has a fastball that tops out around 98 to 101 miles an hour. He's got a good slider, and like I said, he's been there before. He's pitched in high leverage situations as a closer. He's got that closer mentality. He can get you those 3 outs, get you to Diaz, who's having another career year. And now the Mets, I think, right there in that part, at least in that part of the team, in that part of the game, for shortening the game in the back innings, I think they're set and they're in good shape. They went from bad, it could be a disaster, to in good shape, to a top 5 bullpen. And then yesterday, right near the close of the deadline, 5 o'clock or so, the word came down that Cedric Mullins has been traded to the Mets. Now, Cedric Mullins is a center fielder. He's an upgrade. It's nothing to you're not going to go crazy over Cedric Mullins being your center fielder. It's not going to be like, oh my God, we got a great center fielder, big power, anything. But it's an upgrade. It's an upgrade from McNeil in center field, and it's an upgrade from Taylor in center field. Now, the question is, what happens with McNeil? Does he go back to being your everyday second baseman? Then what's going to happen with Beatty and Acuna? And so there's some maneuvering that's going to go on here with this Mullins deal. But Mullins, as far as a good hitter, he's got a little bit of pop in his bat. He's got 15 home runs. He's got 49 RBIs. He's on pace for a 75 RBI, 20 home run season. That's not bad. You'll take that in center field. And now we don't have to worry about Taylor being a hole in the lineup. He could come in for defensive replacement later in the game. He could also, McNeil now can move to second base, and you don't have to keep moving McNeil around, because this super utility player that they got McNeil doing, where he plays every different position each inning sometimes, some games. The other day he played center field for a couple innings, then right field for a couple innings, then back to center field. You can't have that. That's just not good for the player, right? So now he can go back. He can play second base. And like I said, it's going to create, what are they going to do with Beatty and Vientos and that whole thing. So, but hey, listen, that's a good problem to have, right? And the bottom line is they got better at the position, center field, with Cedric Mullins from Baltimore than they were 2 days ago. And that's really the name of the game. And you got to give Stearns credit, because he did everything that this team needed. Everything. And he didn't pay a boatload for it. You didn't see him give up any of those pitchers from the minors, as far as Sproat goes, as far as McLean goes. You didn't see any of those guys. No real big league starters went. Tidwell did get traded, but Tidwell, he pitched a couple games this year, right? He came up for 2 games. He was up and down between Syracuse and Queens. He wasn't very good in either of the 2 games. Sproat, I think they're going to bring up, I want them to bring up Sproat. It sounds like they're going to bring up Mullins. Not Mullins, I'm sorry. It sounds like they're going to bring up McLean. As per SNY, it says that the Mets are saying that they're going to give McLean a shot in the rotation. So I can live with that. McLean, I think he's ready. I think both him and Sproat are ready. They're dominating down in AAA. They're going to bring them both up. They're both obviously going to be on the team come September 1st with the call-ups and the expansion of the rosters. But I'd like to see them up here before then. And listen, the way that the Mets have done this, very happy with the trade deadline. The Mets have got a lot better. They've shortened the game on the pitching side, and they've made it longer on their offensive side. So you've done everything possible, and they didn't give up anybody, right? People are saying that we gave up too much for Rogers. They didn't give up too much for Rogers. Come on. And Mullins is a good center fielder. He's a solid center fielder. You know what you're going to get. I think the deal with Lewis Roberts Jr., I think the White Sox were asking too much. I think they wanted Vientos. And you know what? If you're going to trade Vientos, I was okay with it. But you better get something in return that's worth more than Lewis Roberts Jr. He had a good season a couple years ago. Since then, he hasn't had real good seasons. He would be a little bit of taking a risk. And I think if you're going to trade somebody like Vientos, you don't want to take a risk, right? If you're going to trade somebody like Vientos, you better get back someone that is under control for a year or 2 after this year. You better get back someone that's going to put up numbers like Vientos can. And I don't think Lewis Roberts Jr. is that guy. And I think the Mets just kind of walked away and said, we'll be okay with Mullins. So now the Mets go into this. The Phillies, there was a little bit of an arms race, right? Because the Phillies really did their business. They got the closer from the Twins, who is Duran. And Duran throws the ball about 104 miles an hour. He'll blow it past you. He's at the top of the line, top of the league closer. He's like a Diaz type of closer, and he's under control for 2 years. That's huge for the Phillies. Now, they had to give away a boatload. They had to mortgage their future to get that, but they do have it. The Mets went for it. The Phillies went for it. They both got arms in the bullpen, and it's going to make it fun. It was going to be fun already. Now it's going to be even more fun. Now, the Phillies, with that move alone, become one of the big winners of the day. But I think the best of the teams, the big winners for yesterday at the trade deadline, because everybody wants to know who the winners are, who the losers are. The big winners are clearly the Astros for getting Carlos Correa back, the Seattle Mariners for getting Suarez back. Those are your two big winners. And then the Padres for making the baseball's best bullpen even better. And you got to watch out for the Padres. Padres are playing well. We just saw it. They swept the Mets. They're playing well. They had a good road trip before that. They came off a 10-game road trip right out of the All-Star break. And they played real well. They're 5-5, but they played well. They beat up on the Cardinals, basically forced them to be sellers. The Mets, I think, had a good part in helping the Giants be sellers. And the Giants are back in town tonight. We'll see if Rogers can get an appearance against his old team. I would imagine they'll try and get him in. Both of the guys in this series somewhere along the line. But so Mets and Giants tonight. First game back for Citi Field. Mets coming off the 3-3 homestand, right? Nothing great. You got Peterson on the mound tonight. Peterson, you can count 7 innings, right? Every time. He's undefeated. The Mets are undefeated at Citi Field when Peterson pitches this year. He goes 6 or 7 innings every single fifth day, every time he starts. Peterson is the workhorse. He's the ace of this staff. He's pitching tonight, going up against Ray. Ray has had a decent year, 9-5 with a 2.93 ERA. But Peterson is money for the Mets, and he's been money for the Mets. And I expect nothing less tonight. The Giants are reeling. They've lost 12 of 14. Mets are coming off of being swept by San Diego. So it should be a fun game. It should be a fun series. It should be supposed to be nice weather out there. I'll be out there. Brett might be out there with me tonight. We'll see how it goes. We'll be with you for a pregame, postgame, something like that, and we'll talk more about these trades. And like I said, the Mets are now built and they're ready to go into October, and for a deep run in October with this bullpen and these 2 additions, just change the entire look of the Mets bullpen, and it's exactly what they needed. And Stearns, listen, you got to be happy with Stearns. And Stearns we trust is absolutely true. He has been fantastic for this team. He's gotten everything we've needed, starting with Soto and everything else down the line. Now the Mets needed what they needed. They needed a bat in center field. They needed help in the bullpen, and they didn't want to mortgage their future, and he did everything. So an excellent trade deadline for the Mets. They're geared up now. Now it's a straight sprint right to October, but it's going to be a fight because the Phillies have geared up too. They've got one of the best closers in baseball now on their team in the back end of that bullpen. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So, listen, don't forget, rate, review, and subscribe. Every little bit helps. You can follow us, find all the links at www.lockedupsports.net/follow. We're on YouTube, anywhere you get your podcasts, all the social medias. Find us, comment, have fun, and we'll talk to you later today, everybody. So, good trade deadline for the Mets. Here we go. You got to be happy. Let's do this, Mets fans. The Mets have 18 home games at Citi Field in August, only 9 road games. So big month coming up. It starts tonight. Mets and Giants from Citi Field. I'm Bob Walters from the Brian Gunzel Studios. See ya.